Hey guys, this is Spoony Bard. I recently got a huge load of DC graphic novels at the dollar store. There's a lot to wade through, so let's jump right in. Okay, so first I have the DC Rebirth Holiday Special. Now, this actually collects the DC Rebirth Holiday Special number 1, Harley Quinn number 10, and stories from Batman Annual number 1. Now, this was really painful to get through. First of all, the holiday special has 10 stories, 11 if you count the framing story, and only 3 of them are any good. The rest are just painfully unfunny attempts at humor. Um, the art is decent, but again, you can't get through the dialogue. As far as the Batman annual stuff, there's a story called Good Boy, written by Tom King, and apparently it won an Eisner Award. Now, I heard Tom King is a bad writer. You guys can let me know if I should avoid his stuff, but I have another one of his books coming up. Okay, so next up is Superman Doomsday. This is volume 5 of, I guess they're trying to reprint the chronological order of the Superman Doomsday saga. And I do have almost all the original trades, so this is just duplicates. Anyways, this collects Doomsday Annual number 1, Superman the Doomsday Wars 1 through 3, and Superman Doomsday Hunter Prey 1 through 3. This is from the classic era Superman, post Rebirth up through about 2000. Some of the best writers and artists on it. I love the stories in here. As mentioned, I have them. I've read them before. Superman Hunter Prey is especially good because you get a lot more info on the origin of Doomsday, which I think is pretty cool. This is Superman Batman Volume 1. This collects the first 13 issues of the Superman Batman series. It's pretty much split into 2 arcs. The first 6 issues are the Public Enemy storyline, which has been adapted into an animated film. Basically, what happens is a kryptonite meteor is heading towards Earth. Lex Luthor, who's president of the United States at the time, tries to pin it on Superman, saying he's trying to like take over the Earth or something. So President Luthor uses his positions to get basically all the other heroes to try to round up Superman and Batman. And the main point of the story is it ends with Luthor being deposed as president of the United States, and also hinting at a coming crisis, which we now know was Infinite Crisis. There's also a little one-shot story at the end of this, which really just kind of focuses on the camaraderie between the 2 proteges of Superman and Batman, being Connor Kent and Tim Drake. The other main storyline in this book is the Supergirl from Krypton. This was issues number 8 through 13. The big thing behind this was finally introducing the Silver Age version of Supergirl, Kara Zor-El, to the the post-Infinite Crisis universe, because up until now there have been several versions of Supergirl, but none of them have been like the real one. You had the Matrix that turned into that Earth Angel Supergirl. You had the, I think her name was Sierel, some weird alternate reality Supergirl that wasn't around for very long. But this is the main one. I love the way they introduced her, being that she's kind of naive, and so all these people are trying to put a claim on her, like Wonder Woman and the Amazons and Darkseid. This also, I believe, is the last interior artwork that Michael Turner ever did for DC. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think after this story, that's when he founded Aspen. But again, I'm not a huge Michael Turner fan. Boomer, if you're watching this, maybe you can answer. Next, I've got Superman in Action Comics. This is Volume 4, The New World, part of the DC Rebirth. It collects Action Comics numbers 977 through 984. I didn't bother reading this because I have not read any of the Rebirth Superman. Just based off the back cover, I know that this takes place after the Superman Rebirth, where I do know the basic plot line of they merge the the pre-Flashpoint and the post-Flashpoint versions of Superman, and then they try to like sort of retcon the histories and try to make it all work together. So I skipped this one. And the same thing applies to this. This is New Superman, Volume 3, Equilibrium, collects issues number 13 through 19. Again, I haven't read any of the sort of lead-in stuff to this. As far as I know, it spins out of a arc from the New 52 just prior to Rebirth, but I'm not 100% on that. Anyways, I flipped through it, and I look like I would be lost without reading the stories that precede it. And my last Superman book is called Superman, The Coming of the Supermen. It's a 6-issue miniseries, and it was written and drawn by Neil Adams. Now, first of all, I don't know when this is set continuity-wise, if it even fits in. There is a new Krypton that is on the opposite side of the sun in Earth's rotation. However, the planet is being sort of conquered by both New Genesis and Apocalypse. So I'm not really sure how that works out. The Supermen are the storyline isn't good. They basically show up to help fill in for Clark while he goes and battles Darkseid or whatever. The story was average, and I hate to say it, but Neil Adams' art does not hold up well in the modern era. It's not even the way he draws stuff, it's just the I guess we're used to seeing a lot more dynamic panels and stuff now. This looks and feels dated in comparison. Good story, though, even though I listed all these criticisms about it. Heading over to the Batman books, this is something I've kind of featured before, albeit the last time was the Eagle Moss version. This is Batman and Robin. I think it's Volume 3, Batman and Robin Must Die. Collects issues 13 through 16 and the Batman The Return one-shot. I got this pretty much just for the sake of being able to have completion on the shelf. I've got the Eagle Moss stuff separated into its own category, and I don't really want to merge it into the rest of the stuff. Next is Batwoman Rebirth, Volume 1, The Many Arms of Death. Collects Batman Rebirth number 1, the special, and number 1 through 6, the ongoing. I read this. I don't know how to explain it. The writing is good, but the story is not interesting. Like the way they describe stuff and the plot and everything, it's interesting, but I don't really care too much about a couple of the characters, which is important since they're supposed to be like the adversary. But based off the strength of this, I would be on the lookout for Volume 2. Next, I have a trio of DC Rebirth Detective Comics books. I haven't read these because they are all part of like sort of a larger story, and I don't have enough of them. So I'm going to wait and see if I can kind of fill out the missing volumes before I dive into this. First up was Detective Comics Volume 3, League of Shadows. This collects Detective Comics numbers 950 through 956. Next is Batman Detective Comics Volume 5, A Lonely Place of Living. This collects Detective Comics number 963 through 968. And finally, Detective Comics Volume 7, Batman Eternal. This collects Detective Comics 975 through 981. And that actually also leads into the next one. I have Batman Detective Comics, the number 1027 edition. Now, the reason why they didn't do this big thing for issue 1000 is because Batman didn't premiere until Detective Comics 27, so this is the official 1000th issue with Batman in it, even though there's been a bunch of times where he hasn't headlined the series. Again, because I haven't read any of the kind of Rebirth stuff leading up to this, I just flipped through it to look at the pictures, but I did not read it. Next is Catwoman, Volume 2, Far From Gotham. It collects Catwoman issues number 7 through 13 and the Catwoman Annual number 1. I can say kind of like the Batwoman story. I liked the tone, I liked the writing style. I just did not find this particular storyline to be that engaging. But I would continue to read the series, especially at dollar store prices. So I will keep an eye out for the other volumes of this series. And the last book in today's video is Batman Volume 9, The Tyrant Wing. It collects issues of Batman number 58 through 60, Batman Annual number 3, and Batman Secret Files number 1. Now, this is the other book written by Tom King that I had mentioned earlier. I understand that he had some sweeping 100-issue plan for his run on Batman. I don't know if that came to pass. I don't know if the story's even any good. I've heard notoriously that he is not a good writer. I read a synopsis of I think it was Heroes in Crisis that he wrote, and I mean, I'm gonna read it at some point, but that sounded like the worst thing I've read since Marvel's Ultimate Universe Ultimatum, written by Jeff Loeb. So that's it for this video. The next one coming up is going to be more Justice League and general DC hero related. If you guys have any thoughts on Tom King, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye.